So, what are some attributes that you picked up from your family?
Okay, I was born in Brooklyn in 1951 into a family with two sisters. I had two sisters already. And we lived in a very, very small apartment. There was no privacy, absolutely no privacy. Three of us, my two sisters and I, shared a bedroom. And I think from growing up in that apartment, which was pretty dark at the at the time, it was just a dark apartment. All of these buildings that were built where I lived, um, there just wasn't much sunlight. There wasn't much air. So I was very claustrophobic as a kid, and I still am very claustrophobic. I like a lot of bright. I love this so I can see outside. So that's one attribute that has not really served me that well, frankly. Flying is difficult to say the least because I feel all suffocating. That would be one. I think from my mother, I got a. She had a very big heart, my mother, and I think I got that from her. Um, People really liked her. That's the positive part of it. The negative part of that was that my mother never really spoke up for herself and what she wanted. She thought that by being, quote, the good girl or the good daughter, uh, but that's what you did. Uh, and I lived with that for quite a long time until I realized that sometimes that can be very detrimental, to me. So, good and bad, certainly. My father, my father was now in retrospect very interesting. I never had a relationship with him really. He died when I was 18, so I didn't really know him that well. He was your typical, I guess, 50s and 60s father, where he didn't say much. He, ruled the house. We ate when he wanted to eat. We watched on TV what he wanted to watch on TV. Um, he really had an affinity, though, a great, really love, and got along really, really well with older folks. And I find I inherited that from him. I do pretty well and am very patient with the elderly. And they like to be around him, and they like to be around me. So I got that from him. I also, though, got from him some of his bad habits. One of them, he liked to gamble. Well, I like to gamble too. I just don't do it much, but he liked to gamble. And he liked his beer. And I do like my beer, although I don't drink much of it at all anymore. So those are just little traits that you pick up. But he, I think he was. I think my parents were happy together. It's hard to tell because nobody said anything. Uh, we never told our parents. I mean, I never told my parents that I loved them until like I moved out of the house at 25. We just never said it, But my mother told us that she loved us by showing us, which was very common in those days. You have she would get up every morning and make our breakfast. That's something that I feel I like to do to send my wife off to school. I get up and make her some toast at least. So those are some of the attributes I got from them. I think all of us get both good and bad attributes from our families and our parents. So that's pretty much what I got from them.
And what about your sisters? Are you similar with your sisters, or are you totally
No,
different?
no, we're very, very different. I'm the baby of the family, if you want to say. Mm, they neither one of them have a college education. They both graduated from high school, and that's as far as they went. they're not as inquisitive as I am at all. I am an extremely serious, very intense, introspective person. Neither one of them thinks very deeply, like I do. Uh, they don't ask questions. They both got married. Uh, their marriages, I wouldn't say they were happy, but it's what they had. And they each had 3 children. Um, my oldest sister, who's 10 years older than me, she's 74 now. She kind of lived in her husband's shadow. And since he's passed away, she's gotten a little more vocal. She has a lot of fear inside of her. Just the fear of, you know, driving in an unknown place. It could be. Uh, and again, she does not question much at all. She's definitely, I would say, a Republican, and I am not a Republican. My other sister, Ginny, she's about 71, she is, and I'm closest to her. We are very, very different, very different. Uh, I was teased as a kid that I was adopted, which, you know, really for kids, you shouldn't tell kids that because that's what they think. I was told I was adopted because I was so different, you know, with blonde hair, blue eyes. They're both dark hair with, you know, brown eyes. And, you know, where did you come from? And then when I, you know, turned out to be gay, neither one of them ever really said anything about it. So I didn't know if that meant they really A, didn't care that I was, or B, they just didn't want to talk about it. I think it was a combination of both. Uh, they my sister Ginny, the one on Long Island, is happiest when she's with her grandkids and her family. She's she would describe herself really as very simple. You know, she doesn't read, she doesn't get her information, she gets her information from Fox News, which is why we don't get along politically at all. But they, she's always been there for me, whatever I needed, and I have been there for her. We're very close in that way. My sister Annie, you know, she was married for like 50 years, and those 50 years, we really didn't communicate much. We didn't talk much. We just had no really connection at all. And since her husband died 2 years ago, we've uh, kind of bridged that gap, which I am happy to say. I think we have a lot more in common than we know. So, but I am glad I have sisters, and they're okay.
Um, did you do you have any like thoughts of being the only child, like seeing you being with your sisters and then thinking of by yourself? Was there any like um different aspects of it, or you just never thought of being the only child?
I never thought about being an only child. I never knew really what that meant. Um, I didn't know anybody in my immediate, you know, like school friends and stuff. I never knew anybody that was an only child. I had no idea what that would have been like. One of the things I think when you have siblings, you learn to share the best you can as a kid, right? Because not many like to share. I'm really not. When I was younger, I was much a loner. I was into my head. That's where I was, Catherine. I was into my head. I think the gay issue had a lot to do with that. You know, I didn't vocalize how I was feeling because you just didn't do that at all. I didn't tell anybody anything. Um, I was considered moody because I was so quiet because I was into my head. And but see how you get labeled really easily, right? Oh, she's moody. Don't talk to Rosie. She's moody, and it'd be like, well, you don't even know what I'm moody about. Um, I think being an only child has some limitations to it. So I am happy that I was not alone, an only child. So yeah,
Um, and your family now, are you happy with your family now?
I am very happy with my family now. It has been a long journey to try and get people to think that, quote, gay people can have a family. But I have a family. I have a wife. I have a 4.5-year-old Labrador. That's my child. Um, my family, honestly, the only people left that I have out of my family, my like birth family, are my two sisters. Everybody else has passed away. I have no aunties and uncles left. I didn't even know two of my grandmas. When I was born, they were gone already. My parents have been gone. My father's been gone for 40 something years. My mother for 17. So I don't have that kind of family bond anymore. But I have quite a lovely group of extended family members. And that's my family. These are my family. These are the people that you go to when you need. These are the people who, you put in your will. I have nieces and nephews, but they all either they were all grown or they live, back in New York. So, but I think the family I chose for myself, I collected not only, and I still have people in New York that I went to kindergarten with that I'm very close to, my friends. Um, I have friends up in Tahoe, different, group of friends. I have friends here in San Francisco, friends in New York. So I kind of have a global look in that respect. But I really like the people I've chosen, I guess, to be friends with because the bonds are very, very strong. Very strong.